So this tutorial is on basic transformations within Grasshopper. You guys have probably already done most of these commands when doing your other projects. However, I feel like it is good to kind of do a little bit more practice even when the scripts are really simple. So we can get started here. On Rhino, I'm going to draw a box. Doesn't matter the size. And then go in perspective mode. And on Grasshopper, I'm going to bring in a geometry and set our box as that geometry right there. And then we could hide that on Rhino. Before I move on, I feel like a lot of you guys have used brep or surface when bringing in geometry from Rhino to Grasshopper, and I just wanted to remind you guys of the differences. So geometry typically refers to all the types of geometry supported by Grasshopper, so this could include like meshes, surfaces, boxes, curves, circles, points, and more. And then the difference is that these fall under that umbrella of geometry, so just a little bit more specific. So a surface would be typically a single surface. It could be a NURB surface, one that is just a rectangle with no custom edges is typically an untrimmed surface, and then when it's edited, or if like an edge is filleted or chamfered, then this is typically a trimmed surface. Yeah, okay, so then moving forward, I'll just keep those to the side. We're gonna focus on our geometry here, and then we're gonna type in move. We're gonna move that geometry and transform it into the z-axis. It's already transformed into the z-axis, but we want to control that height. So we're gonna bring in z, unit z, just type in z, and you can see that moves it. We could bring in a number scale and kind of just manually increase that height. However, I want a series of it going above each other. So I'm going to bring in this series, if I can spell series command, right here. So we are going to create kind of a series of these boxes. So what it wants is a start number and step and how many in total. So I'm gonna bring in a number slider of 0 to 10 and then just copy and paste that for all of these inputs. So our start number will obviously be 0, and then our step, so the sizes in between each step, I'll show you the outcome of that. And then how many. So let's make this like the maximum, and then let's make this like 4, and then I'll show you what that outcome is. So it goes up by 4. That's what it means by step. And then how many of those steps is 10. So it shows 9 here, but the 0 counts as 1. So those are 10 values. And now just plugging that series in, we can see we have now 10 boxes, and each, I guess, it's incremented by 4 each time. Now what I want to do is rotate these boxes. So we're going to bring in the rotate command, and then we're going to connect our geometry there, and we're going to bring a slider in that's 0 to 360. But before plugging that in Grasshopper, typically angles are default in radians. But what you can do is right click the angle and just simply click degrees, and then it'll rotate based on degrees. That's why I have a slider from 0 to 360. And when we plug that in, we could see that group moving from 0 to 360. But what I want to do is kind of twist each box per step. So we're going to bring in series again. I'm going to disconnect this by holding Control and then unplugging that. And then I'm going to copy this. I'm going to delete the count and connect that same count from our original move command. So then when we change this, it is consistent with the rotation as well. And then for the step, I'm going to change it to the 0 to 360 and delete that. And then we're going to plug that in into angles. And you can see that now if I hide all of that, each block is rotated within a step. So the step count is 37, so it's incremental by 37. So these are the angles each block is at. If I lower it, you can see that twist decreases. And yeah, that's just a basic script on kind of manipulating each box without actually going through each box. So very sort of parametric thinking right here. And then I'm just going to make a custom preview and just give that a color of, let's do like a blue. And there we go. Really simple, basic transformations. Yeah, thank you.